will come to their seats here. I don't know where they are. Oh, there's Elio. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And it's hard. These kinds of panels are hard because I know we just watched something that was really heavy, but also really powerful, but also really challenging to see what people went through and see how much more work is left to do, but also very powerful because you've seen how much work has already happened. So before we started the panel, I wanted to make sure that I took a moment to acknowledge what we all just watched and also the timeline that we're in when there's so much that's happening in the media about Haiti and about Haitians. And I know that especially if you're Haitian descent, that this week has been very challenging for you. So I just wanted to lay that out there, and then I'm really looking forward to this conversation with our panelists. We'll do it mostly in English, and then some spots, if people get very passionate, I'm sure some people, mostly Pascal, will slip into Creole, but then we could always go back and do some English for also Eta. We'll go back and do some English. So I want to start with you, Eta. There's something very powerful that you touched upon in the film. At the very end, you talked about how long it has taken you to put this film together and why now? Why did you decide that really it was the moment for you to actually distribute this documentary? Can you give us a little bit more about that story, that journey that you went through?
Okay, here comes anxiety. The first shot in the film is 2018, if I'm correct. So this is when I started Shadow Pascal. I wanted to tell this story because I think it was important to document what was happening. And I know this is like Elio mentioned, it's a marathon. This will take a long time to get to a Petro-Caribbean trial. And I wanted to make sure that I documented what happened. It took me a little bit, around 6 years to put this together. But I think we managed to tell the whole story in a way that so far a lot of people are satisfied with the outcome of the story. I think it's important to, as Haitian, to tell Haitian stories, as Haitian storyteller. I think I work on a lot of, for a lot of international media. I know what to do and what not to do. And I was aware that no BBC or no CNN will make a story about Petro-Caribbean. So I wanted to do that, and I know it's my responsibility as a Haitian storyteller. So this is why I decided to put this story together. I think today, as you mentioned, it's a really stressful time in the Haiti's in the news for all the reasons that we know. But it is really weird because the same people who's like talking, can I say shit about Haiti right now? The same people who's talking shit about Haiti right now, these are the same people who supported a certain government that helped destroy the anti-corruption and punitive movement in Haiti. And I'm very upset about all these comments, but I'm also know that we need to continue doing our job, to do our work, to make sure like we fix home, because at the end of the day, we know we have to go back home.
We have to go back home. That's a wonderful way to end it. And something that you said while you were talking, I just wanted to piggyback off of it before turning it over to the other panelists. You said something about why it's so important for Haitians to tell Haitian stories. Can you just give a little bit more about why?
Yeah, let me try. It's when it comes to Haiti, it's hard to go beyond the headlines. Like people heard things about Haiti, they don't know. People don't have a lot of opportunity to see beyond that. And I've seen it firsthand because I work with international media in my professional life. So I know I know the way they cook the stories. As Haitian, I present the story. I take my time. It took me 5 years to make Malasara. It took me 6 years to make the fight for Haiti. But I rather wait for years to tell a story that I can present people, they can understand the country, the culture, everything that's happening in Haiti, instead of like cook something for a few minutes and then put it out there. So as Haitian, I feel like it's important to take our time to tell our own stories. And it's, at the end of the day, it's our job, it's our responsibility to do that. I don't want to wait for when I have a contract with some studio to tell these important stories. I think the time to tell these stories right now.
Wonderful, thank you. And along those same lines, I'm going to turn it over to you, Pascal. And you have my favorite quote in the documentary when Ethan asks you, "Why don't you just give up?" And without a second, I don't know if other people caught it, without even thinking, and the look on your face was like, "This is the most obvious question," and you were like, "It's because it's my country, and I deserve to live here, and I deserve to live here well." And I think that captures the entire documentary so well. But I want people in the audience who maybe have not lived in Haiti at all or during this tumultuous time to understand the emotional state and what it was like to be at the forefront of that movement.
It's weird because I'm here in Boston, saying that, talking about that. It's obvious for me. Fighting for Haiti, it's fighting for myself, it's fighting for my family, it's fighting for my future. Because even the fact I'm here living in the US for 2 years now, when I had to leave Haiti 3 days after the assassination of Jovenel Moïse, I was 2 days hiding in an embassy before. 1 year before July 10 in 2022, I decided that for me it was too heavy to stay outside of Haiti 1 year. Even the fact that they attacked the office of Neges Mao, they attacked my colleagues in Neges Mao. 3 of them had to leave after the assassination too. They attacked my little brother, the house of my family. I decided that before 1 year in the US, I think it was an ego thing to, be an activist. It's something like that too. I said, I had to go back in my country. I decided to go back in Haiti in July 2022, so just before 1 year after I left. And during this year, I went back in Haiti 3 times, actually. Once my mom didn't know because, and the 2 other times, I didn't have the opportunity to go in my family house, to see my friend, to go in my office. But it was something I feel like I hold to myself to go back in Haiti and to continue to do the work of Neges Mao, to continue to do the work of Nupap Domi, because being in this kind of situation, sometimes you feel like you don't have the legitimacy to continue to talk about what happened in the country. You don't have the right to continue to advocate, to denounce what happened in Haiti because you left, because you're safe, because you decide to leave people behind, because you decide to abandon your country. It's a feeling, it's not the reality, but dealing with that after 4 years in the streets, because 3 years actually in the street, because we were in the streets since August 2018. They murdered Nancy in 2021, but at the beginning of 2021, we were in the street with Nupap Domi, with the other groups, with Combit, with the other activists. We were in the street, and when they start murder young activists, when they even the massacre, we decided to stay in the street in 2019, 2020, and 2021. We decided to stay in the street, but in 2021, it was too much. Has Nupap Domi decided to stop the protests in the street because we didn't want to have the responsibility of people killed in the street. So after 3 years in the street, when you have to live in Velina, live in Gilbert, Daphne at this time in Haiti, you have this feeling that you are coward actually. And everything you said before, everything you fight for before, it was nothing. And you need time to bring back this feeling that you have the right to talk about your country, to talk about what you fight for. And one of my friends in this documentary said, n'a prêté dans la rue jusqu'à ce que nous joignions procès Petro-Caribéen. Because at this time we had the report, so we knew where was the money. So after we knew where is the money, you say, okay, now we want the trial. It was the idea. It was the plan to stay in the street, to stay in the country for having the procès Petro-Caribé trial. But many of us have to leave. They killed many of us. They control our neighborhoods. They control Port-au-Prince and everything. And now we are in Boston, in Miami, in New York, in Paris, in Canada, continue to advocate, to fight for this. And as Ilio said, at the end, même si c'est après nous mourir, même si c'est de l'autre génération après, we hope to see that. We will continue to fight for that. We will continue to ask for that. And we'll live with the heavy feeling that saying that Petro Challenger, quasi paysan ou bien Petro Challenger, but really ETA did this work to prove that what we have to pay for that. And I hope one day people will understand, and maybe we will have victory, in this fight. I hope one day. Thank you.
I will say that I like to call myself an eternal Haiti optimist, and so I actually do think we'll see victory. And I don't think it's going to take 2 or 3 generations. Oh, is my microphone off? Oh, sorry. And so I think what's really powerful for people to hear is the story behind. It's very easy when you're in the US and you're seeing things to not understand the stories and the people that are behind it all. And thank you so much, Pascal, for being so honest and raw about what it's like to be the person at the center of activism and what it's like to have that impact your life so directly. And I think the film does a really beautiful job of doing that. And Ilio, I really want to talk to you about what it's like on the other side. And so you were mostly, for the most part during this time period, in the US. And you saw the movement sort of like grow from that way. So I want to give you time to speak a little bit more about that. And also, there's a lot of conversation in the film about the international community And I think we kind of like create this like boogie person, like the international community, but it kind of just means almost anything. It just essentially means like anything outside of Haiti, and it doesn't even have to go that far. It can go to like the Dominican Republic is like the international community. Can you give people who are not as familiar with seeing what that looks like on the ground, what it's like, and then also what it's like for you who lived, you know, in the quote unquote international community, and what do you hope for when you talk about or think about meaningful solidarity from people that don't live in Haiti?
Yeah, this is a powerful documentary. I've seen many films on Haiti, and it did a great job. It was hard watching this thing because I was so involved in all those things, like even though I don't show up in the demonstration, but behind the scenes and stuff like that. So knowing how to get all those people out there, it's not just put a tweet and people come out there. It's just you have to do so much planning, so much strategy, think about what's going to happen. So it's painful. So the thing I think Regine said best at the beginning when she said that Bataille for Haiti, the fight for Haiti, has different connotation. And I guess as long as Haiti exists, this fight will go on it will take different form. 1804, you know, it happened to be a date that everybody can understand what it means, but things didn't start in 1804. Christopher Columbus came in the Americas in the 1400s, and shortly after that, slavery started. You know, you have the natives getting, you know, destroyed, and then exploitation for, you know, getting Africans to come to the continent here. So people don't see the struggle that went on. Because when I was younger, I used to think, why did people stay in slavery for so long? That's one question I asked. Because in such a brutal situation, why people didn't fight? But as I get older, more understanding, I'm like, nah, there's no way people didn't fight. So, and then you hear the story about the Moans and stuff like that. But it just ends, that for Haiti, it's ending January 1st, 1804. And it's the same thing. Haiti, ever since we've been going through that struggle, you mentioned the thing about international community, I'll touch briefly on that. But what the Petro-Caribbean, the essence of this documentary really, is oftentimes we talk about development, and the keywords that the actors in the international scene, people who are big in development, like to mention for a country like Haiti, is sustainable development, meaning you don't want to go back and keep doing the same thing over and over. But oftentimes, the fact that when you look at Haiti, even the demonstration, you're seeing a hospital with trash, you're like, how can people sick going there taking care? So there's almost nothing in terms of social fabrics that people can say, I'm living. You exist, but you're not living. So in that sense, what the Petro-Caribbean Fund, what this movement give us, it's that singularity focus to build a nation. It's not just the money, you know, it's not just the $2 billion. I think Haiti's annual budget is probably $2 billion at that time it was. So yes, it seems like a lot of money, but when we talk about a country, it's not a lot of money. It's just the money that could be used to create certain infrastructure that we don't have. But the fact that it was Haitians who took that money that was meant to serve the poorest of the poor, I think Pascal said that in the documentary, or Velina said that one. It's sad, you know, from the most Haitians who left Haiti, who even Haitian Americans who have two parents of Haitian descent, I think we have that feeling that we always see ourselves as Haitians. I've been here forever. I finished high school here, so I've been here forever. But it's like part of me, I assimilate in this country, I'm as American as it can be. But at the same time, Haiti is me. And recently, we're seeing things they saying about Haiti. You cannot feel good about it when you go to work. So it's a lot. So this documentary is really put what it is to be Haitian, what it is we hope for, where we're going. It's really hard, like I'm trying to say. So on the outside here, think about how we become part of a movement to build it. Because without the place itself, who are we? You know, so the fight for Haiti is really a fight for our identity, for our existence wherever we go. And you know, I'm sure as we go on, we'll talk more about the diaspora and stuff like that, talking about the international community. Yes, again, as I was watching the thing, I'm like, why we always say the international community doesn't want Haiti to do this thing? So what is exactly why they so involved? They don't want us to just leave us alone, to build our nation. And it's mind-boggling. I don't have an answer for that. We're in an academic place. I'm sure people doing a lot of study. This documentary can help establish why you have all this. Even today, we have a government that you saw a picture of the current prime minister as part of people who was managing the fund before. And the process to get to this point here today, the Haitian people, the people who were on the streets, the people who were asking for the Petro Caribbean, some of them, yes, they pretend that we had a voice, but we really didn't have a voice, and they're imposing the prime minister on us. It's crazy, but you know, I'm gonna let other people talk, but
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It is a lot. And then in this same vein, I'm going to take some liberties with this panel. We got finished with the film a little bit early, so I'm going to take a break after this question and let the audience ask questions, then maybe we'll come back to our conversation between us. But then I want to just ask one last question. What does actual true support from the international community look like to you?
Let Haitian lead Haiti, because just like any other people, we know what we want. We know, we may not need high towers, the viaduct. Maybe Haiti doesn't need those kind of things for people to live a decent life. You saw people in there that if you're looking at them, you're like, they have the formal education, but when they're speaking, they're clear on what they need. So the international community just they do it in their own country. They go out, they do polling, they ask people, and they come up with policies that's gonna address those issues. And I think it's the same thing Haitians want. We know what we want. At this point, even though, there's something like we tête frette, because we're not on the street doesn't mean we're not on the street.
Can you say that last part again?
Because we are not on the street today doesn't mean we are not on the street.
Okay.
It's just a moment. Everything is tied together. There's no moving forward, and we say that in the documentary, there's no moving forward without a Petro-Caribbean process. It's impossible if we want to build a nation.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify I just want people who are not as familiar with French law and the process is it's a trial. And so like we keep using the word process, it doesn't like fully translate into North American English. And so I just wanted to make sure people understand that when people are asking they want a Petro-Caribbean process, they want this to go to trial. And for people who are named in the audits to be brought before a judge and to be adjudicated, and if they're found whatever, to do the appropriate process.
We are native Creole and French
Yes.
speakers, so yeah.
I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And so I would love to open it up to the audience. There's a microphone stand right here. People can start to line up and ask questions. And we'll do that for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap up with a couple of questions on the panel. Who's going to be the first? Oh, Dr. Regine.
I just want to make an announcement that we didn't play all of the credits, and so at the end of the panel, we'll play the credits before the closing remarks, just FYI. They're not very long, but we need to make sure we play it to the end, so my apologies for people that wanted to see that. My question is, so we have a lot of organizers in the audience. I know some of my students from my Black Feminist Studies class are student organizers, and we do this activity where we read the Combahee River Collective statement, and they have to write their own version. This is what we believe. This is the province of our politics. And what I appreciated about the film was just how we get to see so much of the different facets of the organizing, right? You get to see, Pascal, at that point when you're printing the paper, right, and we see them going through the reports and all of that, there's so many different elements of organizing. There's getting people in the streets, there's the documentation, there's people who are on the ground, but then there are also people in the diaspora. I was wondering if you could talk more about that process for our students today, because there's so much. I mean, as you all know, we have people that are standing in solidarity with Palestine. We have people that are making different demands, from the university for transparency. And so I wondered if, for the students in the audience, you could say a little bit more about that process of organizing and what that looked like for you. Was there anything, for example, about the organizing that you didn't get to capture? I also really appreciated the digital aspect, right? That you see the tweets, you see the videos. I think you did a great job bringing that to life, and I just wonder for our students here, is there another piece of it that you would like to share with them? Thank you.
I will just talk a little bit about the art of putting one protest together. In Haiti, it can be very challenging to put the protest together because you need to go to talk to the police, to notify the police. Sometimes what you're saying, maybe they don't like what you're saying, so it's a little harder for you. And sometimes you have to tell them, this is the route you're going to take. They will tell you, no, you have to take a different route. They will impose a certain condition on you for you to be able to do your protest. But in my experience, I get to work with and seeing a lot of very smart organizers who goes above and beyond to actually get the job done. It's not just at the end of the day they just. I got something in Barcelona. I'm kind of sick. It's not just about they want to go and protest. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scene that you don't really see. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of scenes of what happened behind the scenes because it is really, really hard. It is really unsafe, and sometimes we don't have a lot of time to shoot, or we don't have a lot of time for me to get point A to point B. And I've seen for example, the one of the biggest protests in 2018, in June 2018. I think probably the whole thing took 2 weeks to put together. Sometimes it's very spontaneous. Sometimes you have to be ready to go at all time. It's like a journalist. It's like a reporter. You have a go bag. I've seen some of these activists. Spend the night at other friends' house or other families' house just to make sure they can make it from point A to point B, because there will be barricade in the street from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And it takes a lot of courage because we have a lot of young women activists. They have to deal with a lot of harassment, both in the streets and online. And it takes a lot to put together these type of events, because it's not just it's the lives that's on the line sometimes, like Pascal mentioned on the film. So I will let the activists talk about what they do better.
The kind of organizing behind the Petro Caribe Challenge movement was the strength of the movement and the weakness of the movement. The first step was this picture. Everyone on social media just they have to post their picture with the hashtag Contre Petro Caribéen. It was safe. It was trending. It was, and we had 1,000 people in Haiti, in other countries, posting pictures, asking for the money, asking for Contre Petro Caribéen. And just 1 month after, Anzi, just a friend, he decided to tweet that it was for Bakaima, not Bakaima, the first protest, the first sitting.
Go sleep outside.
Yeah, okay. So he just tweet, we will be before the Cour supérieure des comptes. And it was hundreds of people with t-shirt and everything. So what we did, we prepare all the design for the t-shirts, we post them, and we said, make a t-shirt for you and make a t-shirt for a friend. If you can, make a dozen of t-shirts, make t-shirt for you, make t-shirt for a group, and everything. And it was really something, a collective effort. You can arrive in the street and you'll see one people with 300 of t-shirt giving people t-shirt like that. And it was on social media, so everyone can have the same t-shirt, the same color. And when you are in the street, you have to be in group to go from this, from point A to point B. You have the music for this specific protest. By example, the girls of No Pap Domi, we decided to go with full makeup in the protest. So it was really a place where you can find different kind of people. But I said it's the weakness too, because when we start asking for the resignation of Jovenel Moïse, it became more political. So it was only, it wasn't only, okay, it's about corruption, it's about the money, it's about Petro-Caribe, it's about governance. It's about people, the face, the name behind the scandal. Yes, you can talk about Petro-Caribe, but it doesn't mean you talk with Michel Martelly, you talk with Laurent Lamotte, you talk with this neighbor, you talk with this friend, with this person, a friend, a member of your family, but he was a member of PHTK, he was a member of the government. So when they start to give the reports, and when they start to give the names, so it became more complex. Because at this moment, people understand that the scandal, it wasn't only, okay, Côte Petro-Caribe, it was about your friend, a member of this government. It was about maybe an ex-boyfriend or your husband, a member of this government. So when we talk about Côte Petro-Caribe, we talk about people, you know, people maybe you love, you talk about friend, talk about colleague. And this is why a lot of activists lose their job, because they were in companies having part of this scandal. And when they start giving names of company and giving names of people, it was complex and it was complicated to continue to do this work. Because if you work, by example, at Sogebank, and Sogebank is a part of the scandal, and you are in the street as an employee of Sogebank asking to arrest people in Sogebank, but you're working for Sogebank. So at this moment, it was complicated and it was dangerous. So the fact that it came from just asking Côte Petro-Caribe, giving the names of the people behind the scandal, giving the name of people in the government, reading in this report that the actual president was part of the scandal and asking for him to resign as president. And you know that in Haiti, when nous n'avons pas politique, nous pas trop rentrer dans bagaille politique, etc. So it was the weakness and the strength. But we use social media. One day, everyone, like 6 a.m., all the street in Port-au-Prince, we put how do you say that, flyers with Côte Petro-Caribe. And everyone asked, who put these flyers in the street? But we were in the street all night, putting the flyers everywhere in the streets. So we tried to find really creative way, innovative way to do this movement. By example, the Audit Collective, asking to people all the country, go in this neighborhood, post a picture or a video, educate people about how the corruption can impact their life daily. It was something that never happened in the country before. So it was a way with artists like Jessica, with Gael, with Gilbert, with, Calib. There were artists in the country, and they find creative way, innovative way to ask people to be involved in this, using social media, using colors, using music, using everything, creating a kind of music for this specific protest and everything. So I think it brings people together. And it was the really beautiful part of the Petro-Caribe Challenge before we face all this violence in the protest.
Thank you for that. I want to add something to what you're saying. So I was very much an outsider looking in. I was in Haiti at the time when this was developing, and I think there's not enough credit given to how organically it developed. So I think very similar to like demonstrations here, and I was incredibly impressed at how it happened. It came out of necessity, but there were layers of organization. And so I think for students that are studying activism and organizing, it was very similar in how it came about. It was a need. Everyone's creativity was activated. You put things together, and out of the necessity, you grew a movement. But at some point, you did put a lot of strategy into Nupapdomi. Like, I remember you having subcommittees and subgroups that worked on different things, and this group did this.
Even the fact we create Nupapdomi, because Nupapdomi, we create the group after a Nupapdomi activity. We
Can you
decide
tell people
to
here?
sleep. Yeah, we don't sleep.
We don't sleep, okay.
We decide to go before the course period that we say we will stay there for 3 nights. We are not sleeping. We'll stay 3 nights, and the name of the activity will be Nupapdomi. So we will stay for 3 nights, not sleeping before the course period.
Which is the superior court.
Yeah.
In Haiti.
And the name stayed after. So.
Yeah, it was randomly somebody suggested that why don't we go outside of the court of auditors and spend a couple of nights out there. And then the activists decided to spend 3 nights
we
there.
We cook in the street, we slept in the street and everything. So
and then the name was born
we
from
don't
there.
sleep, Nupapdomi, stay for the group and everything.
This is amazing. The professor in me just has to also point out, like, this was an encampment. So you're preceding, it was an encampment.
Yes.
What you did with Nupapdomi, which is the same thing that students are doing with the campus protests in support of Palestine. So just think about that, folks. Think about that.
And you also did sit-ins. You also did a lot of sit-ins.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they did sit-ins.
Yes,
Yeah. And I love what I loved about the sit-ins is that the Creole word at the time was just sitin. Like it was like Ilya, I'm sorry, do you?
No, I think when what Regine was asking about the students, like obviously these things start organically, spontaneously, but yeah, that's something I had to get at. But you have to organize it. You have to, because the country has over 10 million people. I don't know, maybe more than 1 million people on social media at the time. Not everybody you're gonna need to create leaders, new leaders. You're gonna have to have strategy on how you're gonna put all this thing together. So I think that's part of what Pascal was also mentioning about like the strength and the weaknesses. Because as much as we all wanted the same angle, process in the Pedro trial, to put the team together, the people who were really into it. Because this thing started really started in August. As a matter of fact, it started with a small group when the tweet happened with the Petro Caribbean, the challenge. And then I remember, a few people were online, and I was very active at that time. And we're like, why don't we put everybody who wants to do something together in a room and think about how we're gonna structure this thing. And actually, I flew to Haiti. That was August 2018. And we had a meeting in Delma, Parc Midori. And then we're like, okay, the Petro Caribbean Challenge is a big thing. How can we combine that with, give it a structure? And there were like people from all over PowerPoints and different places that came, maybe over like 60 people or something. So from there, we're gonna start creating a committee to take the lead on. And from there, other people are gonna say, okay, I can do this, I can do that. So that's how the subcommittee come. So my role, from outside, and other people from the diaspora, like we created chat group, WhatsApp, on Twitter, like we're spending countless night, something come up, how we gonna do this thing. So some stuff was organic, spontaneously, but some stuff were planned. Like, the day we were gonna put the banners, that was like one of the biggest things, because that's really what changed the whole movement. Because on Twitter, it was just social media event. And after we start organizing ourselves behind the doors, and then we're like, okay, one night, we're gonna just, out of the blue, people are gonna go sleep when they wake up in the morning. All the major intersections in Port-au-Prince, there's gonna be banners that say, where is the money? And that's when the whole population really gonna get into, because not everybody's on social media. And at that point, it just take a whole other level. So creating the teams, putting the leaders, and obviously when you talk about leaders, who's gonna be in charge. So you have all these kind of things becoming
Money,
because obviously to do certain things, you're gonna need money, who's gonna give the money, so that might have become a challenge. And
But I have to say also, Regine, that it was, yes, it was also this that create maybe what happened in La Saline, because when we say that, okay, November 18, Bataille de Vertières, we will have a big protest in the street, they decide to do the massacre of La Saline to, to cut everything for the next process. And we had the first massacre is La Saline. You said the images in the movie.
Okay, I'm gonna, yep, second question.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Maria Clara Destine. I'm sorry, I'm kind of emotional because I can relate so much more to the movie. So first of all, I want to say I'm really inspired by your work, Pascal, and Gael, and so many feminists who have done amazing work. I have lived in Haiti my whole life, so that was very emotional. Having that in mind, my question, I kind of have two questions. My first one is, I'm currently studying international economics because I want to help. I want to go home too. And do you guys think that it is possible to kind of bring development or develop Haiti outside of the political institutions that are currently in Haiti? Because obviously they are failing to do so many things. That's my first question. My second question is, do you guys have any advice for international students like me who are watching what's going on TV and can't even talk about it? So I'm not sure if you guys are able to deal with it yourself, and if you do you have any advice for those like me who can't? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay, do you want to do the,
Yeah,
you wanna
let
go
me
first
just.
or the second question?
No, I'll do. I'll say a little bit. Um, for a lot of people, it is really, really hard to think about Haiti beyond the post World War II financial order. So I think this is something that we need to change. It's really, really important to start looking at Haiti outside of that lens. Because I don't believe we will be able to build our own country, have the Haiti that we want if we keep our country being defined by the post-World War II financial order. Because for me, I think this is like one of the big problems. You said something about develop Haiti from the outside.
Out of the
Outside, yeah.
institutions that currently exist.
I think I think the film is a tool to try to create new generation of leaders, give voices to and inviting new people to become leaders, because we can see the result what we have today. So we need like major changes to be able to talk about change in Haiti. So I'm very lucky that I am able to follow these leaders on the panel with me and others in the film, because some of them are very ambitious, some of them are ready to fight, and some of them ready to start participating actively in the political life, the political process in Haiti. But I think we have a lot of work to do to get there, and I think we need to remember that, like Haiti is, we're not like welcomed by the international nation of families. Like we're not. It's not. Haiti is not just a normal country in the sense like the way this country was born, the way what we want to do, the existence of Haiti is a proof it's a proof of anti-white supremacy. Having the country set up the way we set it up, the way we have our constitution, the way we abolish slavery, the way we did our revolution. So we have to go back to the roots and assume certain responsibilities, certain things that we decide we want to do, and like Fania mentioned in the film, and take charge of that and be responsible and actually do it. or the other alternative will be like, we go back and we give up on some of them. We're like, okay, we want to do this, we can't do it anymore. But until we either, decide to move forward full on, take all responsibility and make the change that we need on our own way, how we accept the current situation, which is, in my opinion, not going to lead us to anywhere. But I will pass this to like the.
I
smart
think
people.
I can add to your question about it's impossible to develop a nation without a stable government because there has to be, that's what we know as human. There might be another form coming up later on in the future, but for now, that's the blueprint. You have to have a government that the people elect one way or another, and then they do what those people want. But as citizens, and you're talking from the outside, like I can use myself as an example, because it's like I never left Haiti, and I'm a scientist, so I'm like, okay, you see things here, like why we don't have those things in Haiti? Why we don't have the equivalence of an FDA in Haiti that's controlling all those pharmaceuticals that people are consuming? And I'm like, damn, well, to get that, you need to have scientists, you need to have people in the labs. So you feel like you don't have the basics. So how do you start? So that's where education comes. So the schools, what are they teaching those people? Do they have labs? You're like, damn, how can I even start something? So you can go, and some people do that. They call themselves entrepreneur. You start a school in Haiti, and people pay you, you make good money. I could have done that. But I'm like, no, there are institutions in Haiti. How can I use my knowledge and help? Because you can lead by example, because the country can develop as long as people know how to do certain things. If you study economics, I don't know, maybe you do research, publish some papers on how to manage fiscal, the douane, what you call it, those kind of things. So you can go to like the civil society institution that's already doing those kind of work and see how developed nations do those things and say, okay, why don't we implement certain things like that? So, but the government is really what sets the regulation, that sets the laws, that's gonna, it's the arbiter. So if that doesn't exist, you're really gonna you're not doing nothing really. So when I started that Haitian Bioscience program, at University of Notre Dame, so we're talking about it, they were very, very receptive to it. So the idea was to train young Haitians to have the basic skills in science. And once they have that, over years, you're gonna create a workforce. And from that workforce, maybe, in the community, they can go and say, okay, we can inspect the water people are drinking, we can do some testing. The food that's being sold on the street, making sure that it's safe for people to eat. That's gonna welcome more tourists in the country if they know if they go to Haiti, they can have those things. So that's part of the development, but it's gonna take time. So when you're young, you're like, oh man, things can happen quickly, but once you start doing these things and you're seeing all the difficulty to move from one place to another, to get equipment from here to Haiti, so it's very difficult, it's very hard, but if you're passionate about it, if you believe in Haiti, if that's the way you can give back, there's nothing that can stop you, So there's always a way. And the other thing is to never give up, just like Pascal said about, can you ever give up this fight? So she's a feminist, she's doing other things. So not only that she's asking for the money, that's part of the mission, but you're teaching young women how to believe in themselves, how to carry themselves, what not to take from people. And that's part of the change, and they're gonna become future leaders. So, and when all these things come together, like we have enough scientists, we have enough people who actually study politics, enough economists, then you're gonna have a core team that can build a nation. You're not just gonna have anybody come from, they don't know. They're in a position that they don't even know what they need to do. So that's part of what we need to change too in Haiti. And this film, the money that was supposed to be used for those kind of things, to create those kind of people, that's the unfortunate thing that happened with the Petrokai, because we lost the opportunity to create the next wave of leaders.
I just want to say no for the first question. No, there is no way, unfortunately. NGOs can change a country, civil society can change a country, project can change a country. Yeah, I'm sorry, we can change this country outside of political institution. And this is why even the fact that we are activists, that we are working in civil society organization like Negesmao, as I'm doing, and Gael, and Velina, and Daphne, and Emma, and everyone, and thousands of other young activists in the country, even of the fact we continue to fight, denouncing, making advocacy, etc., etc. The political institution that decide what happened in this country, and you can see it now. During the time of Ariel Henry, we worked with, by example, Accor Montana to advocate for this transition, to make a plan for this transition, to propose for this transition, to think about the Petro-Caribe trial, everything, the election and everything. What happened? Now you have a new government, you have a new presidential council, and they decide for Haiti. They decide for us, and we are here waiting if we will have election in 2026, waiting, by example, for me, if the commission of the reform of code penal will decide that abortion can be legal in this country, waiting for having justice for thousands of women survivors of violence, waiting for justice for survivors of massacre of La Saline and others, waiting for Petro-Caribe trial, waiting for this, waiting for that, because we are not in power. We are not in New York now, by example, at the UNGA. We are not in France. We are not in Brazil. We are not in other countries doing contract and collaboration for the country. Gary Coney does. Edgar Leblanc and other people, Claude Joseph, Dominique Dupuis, they decide for us at this moment. So yes, we can make changes. We can help in the communities. We can advocate. We can bring changes at our level. But we love to see Haiti as a project. Haiti is not a project. Haiti is a country. It's a country. When you think about US, it's a country. Haiti is a country. You have to think about it like that, not a little project of an organization like you can give me 100 sac diri and etc. I'm sorry, we treat the country as an NGO project, and it's not. So the political institution, unfortunately, by example, for the Petro-Caribe movement, we have to wait for the Cour supérieure des comptes to give report about the money, because this is their responsibility. We can do 100 of protests, 100 of demonstration. If the people in the Cour supérieure des comptes, they didn't decide to give the report, we can be here today waiting for the report, because this is the state. This is political institution. And today, yes, we have sanction, we have this, we have that, but the Minister of Justice have to decide to pursue Michel Martelly, Laurent Lamotte, or other people with international sanction. They have to decide to pursue barbecue and everything. We can do that. The political institution, the people in power, they have to do that. And this is why I was 26 years old when I decided to be candidate in Haiti, because I understand as a young woman that I have to be in places where I can decide, and I put action for myself as citizen, as Asian, as a young woman. And this is why we advocate today to have more women in this transition, to have more women in the next election, because we have to find allies in places of power to make the change we want to see in the country. We can continue to be activists. We can be activists all our life. But to bring the change we want to see, we have to be in power, or having our allies in power, and decide what we want to see and what we want to do for our country. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, third question.
Hi, thank you so much, you guys, for doing this. I really appreciate it. My name is Lloyd. I'm also an international student from Haiti. So I have two questions. The first one is, you guys keep mentioning that there's no way of moving forward without actually proceeding with the trials for the Petro-Caribe corruption. But why should proceeding with the trials for the Petro-Caribe corruption be a priority for the Haitian government when there's so much other priorities for the Haitian people right now? Could you please reiterate your position behind this comment? My second question is, it is often difficult to get Haitians together for a cause when it's not as huge or blatant as the Petro-Caribe scandal. As a young Haitian who wants to bring other Haitians together, what advice would you offer me to help them believe and take action for a cause? Thank you.
Those are great questions. Who wants to get the first one?
I think, let me go first.
Yeah, I don't really feel like answering question from him. He asked me like 4 questions today already.
Just getting started.
First of all, I did not say that. They said that. I just film it, so we'll let them answering.
I think I can take a stab. It's a,
I no, 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 I think we have you know for me it's a fight against corruption and impunity, because yes, like you mentioned, there's a lot of other crimes, financial crimes and massacre that need to be investigated. Petrocaribe is where we have a majority that come together that say, hey, we want to start here. Not because it's not important to investigate Makut, not because it's not important to investigate other crimes, but Petrocaribe is where people were like, hey, we want to start here, and if we do this right, like Samuel Madistin mentioned in the film, we can set an example to move the country forward. I will let the activists answer the second question, but I think I've never seen any movement in Haiti that where you have people from all different social different social groups background in the country that was like hey, let's come together, let's do this. And I think this is it's a great example. And I had a lot of fun filming them saying that. And I sometimes I even make fun of them. I was like, are you really sure about that? And at the end of the day, the reason I make sure that I captured that moment the way I did is because I felt like this is something that the people in the film actually believed in. This is something that they're fighting for. This is something, it's not like they weren't joking, they were like pretty serious. Even I can be skeptical sometimes, but I felt like they did, they were pretty sure of themselves, so I will let them answer you.
Can I give something, like a local example that might shine more light onto what you're saying? I think one of the things that's really important about the Petrocaribe scandal, it's like it's a way for you to see all of the things that are wrong with Haiti in one go. And so very similarly here, I'll give the example of Palestine. You see all of these people moving towards something, and they're fighting and protesting for something. There's injustice all over the world. There are genocides all over the world, sadly. There are genocides all over the world that our dollars from the US spend. But there is something very easy for people to be able to make the connection. They can see the settler, they can see the occupation, they can see the direct distinctions, and it allows them to understand other things. Like, I have spoken to people that, because of Palestine, finally understand what's going on in Haiti. And I think it's very similar for the Petrocaribe. And it's sometimes feels like a distraction when we are talking about Petrocaribe. People are like, what about all that money that Aristide stole? What about all that money that so-and-so stole? And the thing about the Petrocaribe is that it's a nucleus of many different things operating at once. And if you exercise a muscle, you get better at it. And in that little nucleus, you're exercising so many muscles that are wrong in the country. If you get that check mark off, we're one step closer to being able to solve the others. So I don't know if that, using that current example of what's going on in the US helps the clarity of why this is such an important movement.
Yeah, you just said something I was going to say about, like, they're always referring about past governments, why we don't talk the same way about the past governments. And in the documentary, they clearly say something about the Petrocaribe Fund. One, the way it was set up is unique. Okay, we talk about in a political level. It was something that was never done. It's something that was going to change not just Haiti, but the region, pretty much. The reason they were using the money, if you think about it, it's what you call compounding gain we will be getting from those projects. Like if we were able to finish those 20 stadiums in Haiti, imagine the impact that will have on the society today. If we were able to finish the hospital, if we were, all those government they call GATSIS, all those kind of fake projects that never materialize. That's one. So, talk about something that started in 2007. Just think about where we will be today in 2024. And if you think where we are today, it directly linked with what happened to the Petro-Caribbean Fund. Like those gangs people talking about in Haiti didn't just come out of nowhere and now running the country. It's because of the Petro-Caribbean Fund that did not do what it was supposed to do. You have that generation, you lost that generation. And why they were able to get this generation? Those people started because people in power who used the Petro-Caribbean money wanted to rebel against their own people. So that's another impact. So now, if you talk about building a nation moving forward, there's no better example. And I'm gonna go quickly on something that's not related to the Caribbean, but it's kind of similar. I remember before September 11, 2001, every now and then you hear like a little terrorist threat attacks. And they even had one in 93 in New York before that. And just the impact, those two buildings fall down, 4 airplanes, and what it did to the American psyche, they're like, we're gonna call this ground zero. Well, the way you prosecute it is different, what happened after that. But you had to put a cold stop, to send a message that this is unacceptable to ever come in this country think you can do this thing again. So they could have easily said, oh, yes, it's just Bin Laden that did this, let's go for him. But they had to really, what Bush called shock and awe, which was not related to 2001, but they had to send that message. So if would-be terrorists would ever think about doing something like that, they could go and destroy your whole nation. So it's the same thing. Petro-Caribbean, we had to set an example. It doesn't matter. We're talking, we're mentioning Martelly. It doesn't matter who was in power at that time, because Haiti was at a point where it was a new beginning. After 2010, the earthquake, you had another country. Nothing that happened before 2010 is similar to after 2010. It's a different nation. The psyche of the people changed. You had money that never was available to the country, became available, new government, and you destroy that hope. So if you don't set an example, what message you're sending to future leaders? We talk about impunity. Simon Madison talk about a lot in the documentary. If you let people run wild, you don't do something about something that's documented, that's clear, how you ever gonna build a nation? The next leader that's coming gonna do worse, not better. They're gonna do worse, and you can see. Even though we are protesting, today, if you were to do an audit of the Haitian government today, you will still see corruption going wild. You will still see people who are not supposed to be in the position being in there because they're in front of somebody. That's not a way to run a country. Once you set that process, people will know now the laws, because that's what democracy is. Haiti started in 1804, but Haiti is kind of a new modern nation when it comes to democracy. It started in 1990, and only one president was able to transfer power peacefully to another one since 1990. Has never happened. We have never had another election where a sitting president passed the power to the next one. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of history to unpack, and I'm gonna switch over to the second question. Maybe only one panelist can respond. Does everyone remember? I can repeat it. So the second question is it's difficult to get people organized together, Haitian people or any people probably together, organized for a cause when it's not a huge cause. Like Petro-Caribbean seems very easy, like it's such a big cause. How do you, as activists, advise somebody to organize people around smaller causes? Pascal, do you want to take that?
You start a group chat.
That's every Haitian response.
No, thank you.
Add it to a group chat. Chat.
I don't know if I have an answer for that, especially for people living here in US, because I don't have a big experience here. And I'm organizing people for one of the most difficult cause, feminist cause. It's really something hard because, as you know, societies are really patriarchal and violent against women, so it's really hard. But you are in one of the country with the biggest influence on Haiti. You live in US. Find how you can influence where you are living. By example, we can see what happened with in Springfield, by example. How you try to find people to organize for, I don't know, for that, by example. And sometimes I think we thought that we need only huge movement to make changes, but sometimes it's, a lot of small actions, small of movement, and they create, something big, and they create something, maybe after a long period of time, but they can create something. I decided with friends to create No Pap Domi after, the first year of Petro Caribe Challenge, because we thought about the fact that we can't be in the street for 10 years. We have to do this work in institution. We have to do this work internationally. We have to, to organize. So we create No Pap Domi, and 6 years after, No Pap Domi is here, doing what they can do in this context for Haiti. We are in Haiti, we are in US, we are in Canada, we are everywhere. We continue to do small action with other groups to see if we can bring the changes that we want to see. And individually, what you can do, here in the US, where you have a huge Asian community, to do something. Essentially, I don't have an answer for that, but I know that individually and with small group, we can do action. With No Pap Domi, for now, maybe we are 20, 25 people, and we continue to influence about this transition, about the multinational force, about the narrative in media, about what happened in social media. We continue to do the work, and people continue to amplify what we are doing, what we are saying, and with that, it creates, a big movement day after day, and we hope that one day it will be the biggest change that we can see. But I think you have to find your way, the way that works for you, because maybe my way is not yours. You have to find what works for you and to stick with it. And for the first question, I just want to say that without the Jose Petro Caribe trial, we will never see end of corruption and impunity in Haiti. Never. We will have government after government. We will continue to do what we are doing now, but we will never see the end of poverty, of impunity, of corruption, of massacre. We never did the trial of dictatorship in the country, and we can see the result today. If this movement don't create what we want to see for the end, of course, we have corruption everywhere. We have impunity everywhere, but it's not the norm. It's not, so exactly. So we will never see another country. People will never mobilize like that again to see changes, because we will lose faith about what we can do together and if we can see changes. By example, you can see it today. When we have sanction today, people say, I ain't serious, nothing. Because they lose hope. They lose faith in this. Even if we have sanction now against Martelly, against Laurent Lamotte, we lose hope that ça ne va rien donner, il va pas marcher, il va pas faire rien. Because if we did that 5 years ago and no result, qui ça qui a changé quoi que ce soit? So if we don't have this trial, we will have PHTK 1, PHTK 2, PHTK 3. We'll have other movement, maybe not PHTK, but the same kind of group in power in Haiti. We'll continue to have people suffering in the country, and we will see 20 years after the country will stay the same, unfortunately. And we'll be here in Boston, in New York, everywhere to talk about what we want to see, how we want to see our country, but it will never change, unfortunately.
It was Yeah, he has strong legs. The last person again.
Sorry.
Hi, good evening.
I think everyone, maybe just.
Well, first of all, thank you for this film and also what it represents. And both for me as a proud Haitian American and first year PhD student in public policy here at Northeastern. And there was, thank you. And then there's a term that stood out to me called economic mafia. I think it's a great way to summarize the economic instability in Haiti. And the question that I have for the panel is that what does accountability and trust look like from the Haitian government in the years to come, in the years when, 5, 10 years from now, when you look at it in the future, what does accountability and trust look like, both for the Haitian government who have been impacted by this, intergenerational, not just poverty, but this constant, like you just said, this constant form of like corruption over and over again. So what does it look like moving forward for my generation, and also in the lens of the international landscape as well?
That's a really great question.
Yeah, I will try to
Do
take
you
a
want
crack at
to
it.
do you want to split it? We don't have
Yeah.
a lot of time left, so maybe one person can do Haitian
Yeah.
government and one can do international. Oh, do you? I can.
I-
Let me repeat the question because maybe other people didn't hear it as well. It's a great question. Thank you. Oh, we have more people standing up. He asked, "What does when you talked about the economic mafia, that was your quote, Velina. Okay. What does accountability look like from the Haitian government for years to come, particularly for this upcoming generation? What does accountability look like for you for the Haitian government, and what does accountability look like for you for the international community?"
Maybe I can just repeat a couple of quotes from the movie, like
Yeah,
"Fuck no mari next ayo."
Mari Negio?
That's what Gilbert said.
You got to put you have to tell people what Mari Negio means in English.
I think seeing an end to the impunity will be a really nice start, nice place to put the country, because as Pascal mentioned, today the impunity is the norm. It's like the way Madison talk about Massacre La Saline. It's like they know who did it. Nothing happened. So seeing some changes, seeing some people go to jail, seeing some money go back to the treasury, and seeing like we're able to like set an actual example will be a really, really good start, and a strong message to the new generation to know that they cannot repeat the same thing again. When it comes to the international community, I don't know. I think I'm very it's very hard to talk about the international community because sometimes it's everything and sometimes it's nothing. I think we need to step up our game, try to decide who is our friend and who we're going to deal with and we don't want to deal with. And we can decide like what is this international community is about, because we heard like there are things that we can do because like we're an independent country. At the same time, there's other thing that we cannot do because Uncle Sam said like we cannot. So I will let my colleagues talk about this international community.
Yeah. Earlier we talked about that the international community. They don't owe us anything. They don't owe us. They don't owe Haiti anything. They just owe the citizens something. And when they involve in Haiti, they involve in their own interest, not in Haiti's interest. And that's the relationship between country and country all over the place. No country go in another country and develop it for you. Even when they have war, they destroy it, it's because they have an interest in that country, they probably rebuild it. So it comes to Haitians really today, Haiti is a lawless nation, sadly. As someone who's very involved in Haiti, I don't even know what constitution is the law of the land today. We have a government that I don't even know where we come up with this idea to have this government. So who do they represent? I don't know, but as all Haitians, we just pretending that, oh yeah, he's the prime minister, he's the minister, whatever, and we letting things go. But that can only go so far. At some point, people are gonna get up and say, you know what? Hate is the only thing we have. We have to do something. So that's why those movements never gonna stop. People are just taking calm today, but there's gonna be something that's gonna come up at some point. Yeah. Because the good change we want is not gonna happen by itself. People are gonna make that happen. So the international community will learn from what Haitians will do with Haiti, because if people before they fight to end slavery, today we will still be slaves. Nobody will be like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of mistreating you. There's no slavery. No, people have to fight. And it's the same thing. To develop Haiti, we're going to have to do what needs to be done besides the talking points. The document is good because it's visual, it's audio, we can see it, but we have to act. We have to be passionate because at the end of the day, we're all going to die. People are afraid of dying, sadly, but everybody's going to die. If you're very passionate about Haiti, you want to make change. I'm not saying go and be a martyr, but you have to do what you believe in, and that can take whatever form it takes. Helping strategizing, helping going start a business, employ people, whatever it takes. But, that's the national committee, we don't have to worry about them. Once we come together, we say this is the Haiti we want, it will happen.
So let me try to summarize, because we're getting kind of close to time, and I want to make sure that the three people standing get to ask their questions. So far on the table to answer this question, we have accountability in Haiti looks like people going to jail, Mari Negio, a restitution of some of the monies that were, some or all the monies that were stolen, and this creates the example that is for the future generations. For the international community, we have some mixed answers, because either it can be nothing or it can be everything at all. And so the idea is that if we organize ourselves better to have our leaders be accountable to us, then the international community has to fall into place, similar to how it has fallen into place with other things that we've set the tone for, like ending enslavement. Yes?
Okay, Jean, even the fact of having something like core group.
Yes, it's
insane.
Does everyone here know what core group is? So that everyone's on the... do you want to give a brief definition?
No, go ahead.
So the core group is 7 countries that meet regularly to discuss what is or isn't supposed to happen in Haiti. And Haiti is not one of the 7 countries that meets. And so it's just 7 outside countries that come together, and they literally direct the different things that happen in the country, exactly how that sounds.
I don't know if you saw the pictures of William Ruto with the President Abinader talking about the MMS in Haiti. If you think about BNU, if you think about, all this kind of thing you can see happen only when you talk about Haiti. So I think we have to think about it differently, about how we deal with the international community, with the other country. We can start here, and maybe we can find the answer that we want, that we need for that.
Okay. So I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to move to the, I don't know, were you up first or? Yeah. Dr. De Graaf? Yes, Professor De Graaf?
Mabdino Oshan, powerful work, so congratulations to you all. So as a linguist, I have a couple of questions that I want to ask.
Ou ka mande nan Creole, s'il vous plaît?
S'il vous plaît.
Créole?
Oui,
mon bagage. OK. Donc, merci en pile pour film là.
Est-ce que vous avez microphone là?
M'a dit nous Auchan, Aïbobo, un pile force. Donc, comme linguiste, on va vraiment apprécier avec mouvement Côte Côte caribéen, c'est le fait que nous toujours communiquer en créole avec la population. Donc, nous bel au champ pour ça. Mais là, nous montons dans plus haut niveau, par exemple, rapport pas écrit en créole. Donc, tu as calculer comment nous communiquer les résultats rapport avec la population. Parce qu'on va penser qu'il était fait mouvement marché, c'est le fait que tout le monde comprend ce qui a passé. Mais les rapports publiés, 3 rapports, ils pas en créole. Donc, comment nous partager les résultats rapport avec la population? Une autre question, m'a tout fait suivi sur ça, c'est concept, tu parlé de ça, c'est l'argent. Donc, comment nous organiser l'argent pour nous faire mouvement avancer? Parce que bon, là, nous, tout le monde sait prendre la rue, maillot, bannière. Donc, côté financement des sorties, et comme nous avons critiqué le gouvernement pour corruption, il faut que nous créions un bon modèle, transparence pour ça. Mais le film n'a pas adressé ça. Le film n'a pas adressé côté financement mouvement. Ouais. Mais deuxième question, c'est qui ça nous apprend de mouvement? Est-ce que si nous continuons à faire, mais nous pouvons faire, ça nous affecte plus beau toujours. Est-ce que qui ça nous apprend? What are the takeaways pour nous essayer d'améliorer ça nous faire? Mais compliment pour ça nous faire et puis bon, m'a pas apprendre de nous toujours.
OK. Nous vraiment commencé presque dépasser l'air. So, m'a bannou chaque on green phrase pour chaque question.
Okay.
So, rapport en créole, qui est-ce qui a répondu?
Je dis ça parce que nous avons fait un travail sur rapport, nous avons fait vidéo et rapport yo. Nous te summarize rapport et puis nous fait vidéo, nous publier pour moun yo. Parce que en même temps même si en créole c'est de gros documents puis nous pas appeler yo. Donc nous te fait des vidéos de rapport en créole, nous te fait des flyers de rapport en créole, nous faisons avec photo. Ça veut dire nous avons vraiment essayé simplifier, changer langue, etc. Ben, ou qu'on ait institution en Haïti travaille en français. Ça veut dire gain qui fait il faut travailler en français et en créole, mais c'est vraiment publié tout rapport en français. Donc nous-mêmes c'était nous-mêmes justement nous pas dormi qui était fait travail, fait vidéo sur rapport à faire message WhatsApp circuler pour rapport à faire flyer, faire ceci, faire cela sur rapport. Deuxième aspect, hein, c'est sous question et financement. Et même comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'était une force et une faiblesse mouvement. Parce que le fait que, même si nous dit mouvement est tellement organique, par exemple, Mario, là pour nous faire Mario, nous-mêmes, nous pas jamais fait Mario pour nous. Nous mettons design Mario dehors, nous disons, nous font Mario pour l'autre monde. Ça veut dire que l'arrivée dans la rue, on connaît des gens qui de l'argent par eux. Moi-même, qu'on a passé dans 10 Sky, gens qui écrivent sur WhatsApp, mais écrivent sur Facebook, qui dit quitter une douzaine de maillots là pour eux, ou bien venir pour une douzaine de maillots là. C'est comme ça qu'il a commencé. Et le fait justement que l'ité vient très organique, c'est question ça au milieu t'a posé, côté jeune l'argent pour faire banderole, côté jeune l'argent pour faire maillot, etc. Le nous pas dormi, vient créer membre de nous pas dormi, t'es mobiliser l'argent pour faire activité, le n'a fait activité nous pas dormi. Ça veut dire le n'a fait 3 jours devant ce cours supérieur des comptes, etc. C'est l'argent membre nous pas dormi qui t'est mobilisé. Mais avant que nous pas dormi t'est fait, tout le monde a fait, c'est vraiment des groupes moun yo fait entre eux. Par contre, si des gens dans diaspora, peut-être il y a parler de ça, mais c'était vraiment ça que nous avons fait. Là, nous avons fait toute affiche, mettez dans la rue. À l'époque, c'était même pas encore nous pas dormi, c'était Haïti Nouvelle. Donc, c'était l'argent nous encore qui était fait. Mais malheureusement, même je dis, ça te vient tourner une plus gros fouet cash que nous avons, parce que là, pour nous commencer à poser des questions, c'est là, parce que nous pensé que c'est nous-mêmes qui t'avons fait. Mais en même temps, c'était très insultant. Parce que l'autre des prix, nous avons toujours écrit ça sur les réseaux sociaux. On a toujours dit, est-ce que nous avons pris en 12 maillots? Donc ça veut dire, mais après, bon, ils ont été utilisés pour dire, nous prenons l'argent dans main tel, et il y a des gens qui financent le mouvement. Et surtout, là, nous venons commencer à demander des démissions de série de monde. Et je pense que ça, c'est une leçon. Si nous tirons, c'est, nous avons supposé tirer la donne. Je pense que nous prenons un pile leçon de mouvement Petro-Caraïbe Challenge. Je pense que nous avons un pile naïveté. Sous mouvement, je pense que nous avons rempli l'arrogance à un moment tout, mais nous avons rempli l'espoir. Et je pense que l'espoir a dépassé ça. Et peut-être ne pas penser que nous avons pensé que le niveau de violence ça que nous avons mettre en face nous, que parce que même j'en dis en côté. En côté, nous avons vraiment dit à nous-mêmes là dans la rue, ils ne pas attaquer nous. Mais à un moment, le tuer Neti, le commencer à faire massacre dans le quartier populaire, nous venons comprendre que ils vont aller aussi loin que possible pour faire nos paix. Et je pense que ça, c'est une plus grosse leçon que nous tirons.
Yeah, bravo.
Idiot.
Est-ce que...
Est-ce que me dit tout bagaille?
Oui, est-ce que vous avez besoin d'une demi-phrase?
Demi-phrase?
Vous qui avoir une demi-phrase pour Ilio.
Moi, si on m'a dit sur ça, m'apprendre c'est
Demi-phrase.
dans le mode mouvement ça faut nous apprendre à créer leader en mi-temps non. Parce que mouvement ça on fasse la pour faire stratégie pour le convaincre. Et l'offre fait leadership tout, faut qu'on pas peur critique, faut qu'on pas peur conséquences. Parce que bagage ça va pour monde qui pas qu'à absorber choc yo. Donc en plus de monde qui est jeune, donc c'est normal pour te venir petit échec, si ça passer. Mais si il y a un nouveau mouvement qui a fait, c'est effectivement même parce que spontané seulement aller non limite. Faut que nous plus bien organiser, nous faut nous connaître le leadership là, surtout là nous avons même vision. Nous pouvons partager, accepter ces différences, mais c'est ça que nous vraiment souhaité que nous apprenions.
Compliment, ok.
Merci. Ok, dernière question.
Ok, comme on a parlé créole, on continue. Question en créole tout. Non, pas M. Cindy Dieu juste, moi travaille dans Boston City Council, qui c'est là dans Boston. Moi, venu ici, je dis Timoun. Donc, question c'est plus que dans regarder film nan ou ka ouais que dans regarder film nan seulement, il provide hunger parce que ou fâché ou quand ça gagne. Mais at the same time, dans conversation en tout, devine paraître que it's not gourmet, we don't want to lose hope, but at the same time, there's really not anything to hold on to that hope. So question c'est que parce que moi Pascal ou te dit que l'or t'est venu par rapport à l'or quitté ou senti que you were like you feel like a coward. Nous connaissons travail là supposé continuer, mais question c'est que pour moun tant que moi-même qui était ici, qui était Haïti jeune, m'gain des discussions m'vle prendre ou bien des conversations m'vle faire, m'gain propre haïtien qui dit m'pas haïtien assez ou bien m'pas comprendre ni assez. Donc qui gens ou te ka dit pendant ou comme même ici kounya, comment on va continuer goumen avec m'te dit continuer travail là, après ça tout comment on monte en comme qu'à participer dans le travail là dans le sens que nous comprenons nous comprenons ça qu'a essayé fait là but at the same time nous gagnons un sens de pas gain rien pour nous kembe pour gagner espoir.
Wow. Ouvrons la dernière question moi. That was going to be my closing question.
Non, c'est film là, c'est objectif film là, c'est pour c'est un outil pour tout le monde qui bataille pour utiliser pour avancer agenda. Et c'est malgré bagaille difficile mais mouvement pas fini. C'est pas trop nous pas dans fin mouvement. Nous pas même qui bon même. Et c'est travail ça n'a continué aujourd'hui. C'est travail ça n'a fait aujourd'hui. Activistes pour gagner pour responsabilité utiliser les outils ça gens voulez gens capable pour faire travail avancer et me fait écoute mes pas mais c'est documenter ça passé mais c'est gentil et ou fâché ou gain pile l'émotion le regarder film là ou sentir ou gain pile et pile rage pour gens nous perdre une opportunité comme ça mais pour moi parce que nous besoin utiliser n'importe ça que nous pour nous continuer la bataille là on film on petite discussion et on groupe chat rencontre dans l'école et tout côté lié pour nous continuer discussion ça parce que c'est vraiment important pour une bataille dans chaque coin possible dans chaque côté possible que nous posons action que nous posons pion pour faire pour poser dans intérêt avancer bataille là me penser bataille là continuer me penser et grand pile bagaille pour nous appuyer sur oui c'est difficile oui il y a un pile obstacle devant nous mais me penser gain espoir et nous dans bataille jamais on dire
une plus grosse victoire mouvement Petro Caribe Challenge c'est que corruption tourne un débat incessant dans mitan haïtien aujourd'hui. Il est très difficile pour journée aujourd'hui à yon moun lever ou besoin d'entrer dans le gouvernement transition, ou besoin d'entrer dans le conseil présidentiel, ou besoin lever l'argent mais diaspora pour faire Haïti pour moun yo pas dire est-ce qu'on pas de l'argent te volé, est-ce qu'on pas de fourrer mon en ça dit que journée aujourd'hui plus gros victoire mouvement Petro Caribéen li mettez corruption dans la vie moun yo au quotidien moun yo a questionner pratique moun yo au quotidien et c'est une plus grosse victoire avant corruption c'est un mot très abstrait pour haïtien jodi corruption veut dire concrètement on bagay pour li veut dire que journée jodi y a vivre condition y a vivre là parce que gain 10 ans 20 ans de gouvernement qui t'a volé qui continue voler qui continue faire impunité dans pays son gros victoire et moi-même moi penser en tant que moun qui vivre ici depuis longtemps moi-même j'ai seulement 3 ans m'a vivre ici premier ça nous besoin c'est humilité un rapport très complexe entre haïtiens qui vivent dans leur pays avec haïtiens qui vivent dans le pays parce que un rapport en pile fois de domination un rapport d'incompréhension et je pense que le nous deux pays nous pas fait assez preuve d'humilité nous pas fait assez preuve d'écoute avec monde qui vivent au quotidien qui investi au quotidien qui imaginer au quotidien qui gens pour yo kembe pays en vivant nous supposons qu'il y ait plus humilité et je pense que le pouvoir PHK a montré nous ça tout parce que c'est un pouvoir de diaspora qui était très arrogant de façon à aborder gens qui faire politique dans le pays de c'est monde dehors qui connaît tout ça qui solution pour pays c'est monde dehors qui intelligent c'est monde dehors etc. Je pense qu'il faut qu'il y ait plus écoute plus humilité et plus respect pour un qui vient dans le pays c'est de monde qui lever au quotidien 24 heures sur 24 qui pas connaît si après prochain 24 heures. Faut que nous ayons un peu de respect pour des gens qui survivent au quotidien dans le pays et puis qui pas nécessairement un moyen pour qu'on qui pour reproduire bataille pour faire pays en sorti que dans salier mais qui ont un processus de survie tandis que nous-mêmes nous avons de struggle que nous pas vivre au quotidien qui gens qui travaillent à Haïti me dit ça à l'heure nous avons un rapport très basé sur pauvreté avec Haïti c'est genre depuis me voyer l'argent problème n'a résoudre problème nan plus complexe que juste où l'argent font projet non zone rurale et puis problème éducation, problème santé, problème non, il pas résoudre li aider un groupe monde mais pas résoudre problème systémique qui en dans pays, problème pays qui a des problèmes systémiques urgents qui pour régler dans tout domaine. Et ça faut que nous adresser de manière systémique. Donc je pense que expertise nous important là nous de pays pour nous adresser j'en a influencé côté nous pour nous influencer j'en a fait politique en Haïti, là on regarder ça Gerline Joseph a fait journée aujourd'hui avec plainte que au poté pour ça qui passe Springfield, on a regardé que grand pile elected official qui ont influencé pour influencer ça qui passe Haïti, etc. Dans façon pour côté pour moyen pour qui gens influencer chaque monde qui a fait une action, même parce que toute action doit aborder que on vivre dans pays quoi vivre de pays en pays quoi vivre de pays avec plus respect, humilité pour moun qui en dans pays tout haïtien en Haïti pas saute, tout haïtien en Haïti pas corrompu, tout haïtien en Haïti ouais ça me veut dire nous avons une vision de depuis haïtien c'est un monde corrompu non
c'est une internalisation
exactement donc je pense que faut que nous changer rapport ça entre nous et puis maybe n'a besoin une façon pour nous communiquer puis bien et puis pour nous travailler puis bien et puis pour nous arriver à une solution. Voilà, merci un peu.
D'accord. Vraiment n'a continuer à créole, on t'a essayé de garder pour est-ce que just we're gonna ou gagne dernier bagage. Moi même gagne dernière question, je devais juste terminer.
OK, je devais ajouter ce bail. Donc on différence que va là moi avec Pascal. Pascal fait tout en Haïti. Donc nous ouais j'allais parler de rapport comme si son rapport sens unique de monde qui là supposé une humilité pour mon Haïti à tout. Mais oui parce que c'est comment m'expérience me fait quelque expérience me fait moi-même. En pile fois tout monde qui en Haïti alors qui d'Haïti, quand même fait Haïti, grandi Haïti, même qui était petit. Yo vient faire comme soit haïtien ou même comme soit demander permission pour parler là en Haïti. Ça son manque de galier tout. Donc ça c'est le bail devait dire. L'autre bagarre là était dit tout à l'heure, nous pas côté nous. Nous côté nier, c'est parce que peut-être dans situation parce que nous dans situation nous pas qui monde pour nous demander pour faire tel bagage parce que nous pas un gouvernement qui légitime je dis. Donc nous prétendons un gouvernement légitime pour nous faire l'adresser problème. Donc je dis corruption tout le monde comme ça corruption je dis. Nous passer vers ça. Nous sommes dans la phase impunité. Corruption, pas jamais qu'à finir. Tout pays dans le monde, nous avons dit ça dans le documentaire, plein corruption. Ce n'est pas corruption ou là pour dire qu'on a fait. Parce que l'humain a toujours corrompu dans le sens de le pouvoir, de l'argent. Mais, il y a une sanction contre la corruption. C'est ça que nous avons besoin d'établir. Pour ça, établir, il faut qu'il y ait une constitution, il faut qu'il y ait une loi, il faut qu'il y ait une justice. Donc, c'est la phase ça nous je dis, faut impunité a fini. Pour le finir encore avec les amis qui demandent pour que ça puisse au Caribéen, pour ça puisse au Caribéen important, c'est ça qui fait l'important. Là nous fait exemple nous finir impunité a niveau corruption a baissé et puis augmentation de développement automatique. Donc c'est là nous je dis.
OK, parfait. Merci. So, je voulais terminer avec like a little positive like a dreaming exercise. Positive. Dreaming. We are all positive dreamers, even if it's harder some days than others. Je voulais juste donner one sentence. You know, a few years ago was like trending. I was thinking of like the social media challenges that were trending around the same time. There was one that was like, "I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams," and people had the shirts, and people were just like, you know, my ancestors would have never believed that I did this. Okay, what is your if you are an ancestor, what is your wildest dream that you would like to see your descendants live in Haiti?
Haïti, un pays pour tout haïtien. Côté, on doit quitter Haïti ou aller vivre l'autre côté ou à l'école, mais Haïti a toujours tourné là pour aller vivre. So, pour moi-même, ça c'est rêve idéalement. Que nous pas abandonner Haïti, nous pas partir quitter Haïti. Mais Haïti, son côté, a toujours aller retourner.
J'aime pour Haïti, suspendre former citoyens pour le pays. Parce que je pense que nous formons un pile citoyen, mais pas pour Haïti, pour le pays.
Bon, j'aime vivre ça que moi apprends dans le livre côté que dit que te dit que t'es d'Haïti des pour piler ou sont monde libre, n'importe couleur y n'importe des pour piler terre sont tes libertés sont malheureusement je dis un plus gros ça manque en Haïti c'est liberté dans tout sens. Me rêver vivre ça un jour comme haïtien. Parce que c'est plus gros rêve moi. Merci.
All right, merci tout le monde. It was the dead. We're going to play the credits now, please, and then we'll have our closing remarks. Thank you so much.